Caleb Hood here with Mike Wall.
Hey everybody.
Coming at you with a Modern Era Fitness podcast. Mike, how you doing?
I'm really good.
Yeah? Anything exciting happen training this week?
No.
Just boring old training?
Boring old training with a bunch of clients and they're making progress is so boring. No, it was really good.
The worst.
It was a good standard week.
Good. Well, let's get right into the topic for this week. Mental toughness. First, probably we should figure out where we are, how we define mental toughnness, kind of what it means. Yeah, what it means to us in respect to what we do. So why don't you?
No, let's start with you. I want to hear your thing.
Okay.
Caleb brought up the topic today, so I want him to start.
Oh.
I think you should start.
Well, I think for me, mental toughness is the ability to, when things get uncomfortable, to push through. To kind of endure the discomfort. For instance, going through the ranks in martial arts, the belt promotions that we have, I can't speak to every school and every system how they do it, but for ours, we try to push our people to the breaking point and then past it, and it's in order to see how they respond past that breaking point, because we want to make sure people are mentally tough and can still make good decisions when they are stressed and taxed beyond where they might like to be, beyond their comfort level. So that's kind of my take on it in a nutshell. What about you?
I think mental toughness is being aware of the certain lines that you have as a person. I mean, there's the first line of like, okay, this is uncomfortable, and then there's the next line of like, okay, this stinks.
Like a threshold, like certain thresholds?
Yeah, certain thresholds, and then there's another line of like, okay, I've never been here before. Like, this is a whole new level of rough. And I think realizing those lines and seeing those lines in yourself, I think that alone is mental toughness. And because you can kind of gauge how you're doing against yourself. So if you're brand new to whatever, I don't know, let's say brand new to life. If you're just a kid, and
just some dumb baby that's
running around, so you're gonna think everything like, oh man, this is tough. Everything just sucks and da da da. I mean, because you want cuddles with your mom or whatever, and you're not, and it's time for bed. You gotta lay down. Yeah. Well, this sucks, and it's just like you cry and stuff, and there's not a whole lot of mental toughness there. So I think, but you're put into that. No, listen. Here's what
I'm listening. It's just I'm picturing everything that you're saying.
The line of being okay with being uncomfortable is like doesn't exist, and then it slowly grows, and then it slowly grows, and I think some people throughout life, they try to push that line, or they try to at least see that line and move beyond it, or just flirt with it. And I think that's something that both, your martial arts and my personal training, that's something we both welcome as trainers and teachers. We get people to, whether they know it or not, we're going to get them to flirt with that line, and that line's going to just go a little bit farther, a little bit farther, and a little bit farther.
Dominate that line.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. Occasionally, I'll have students come in, and when we're doing our warm-up, we usually have some sort of calisthenics or aerobic or something to kind of make sure we have at least a minimum level of fitness. But every once in a while, we'll get somebody in who doesn't really like how it feels. When you're trying to get stronger, it's not always a comfortable thing to get to that limit and then push past it, and they kind of back off and will say that they can't do something when in reality that mental toughness just hasn't clicked yet. They haven't broken through that threshold that you were talking about. And so I do my best to kind of coax people past it. Try to sit on the other side and I don't have any carrots to offer other than their own self-improvement. And I try to get people to understand that they're going to feel better afterwards. They're going to see the improvement and feel better about themselves and be able to perform better.
Right.
It's not always easy, though.
I think you could also point out the fact that you are doing so much more than you used to. Anybody. I mean, even if they walk in the door.
Yeah. The hardest part is over, really.
Yeah, is ever walking in the door. And if they walk in the door, that says a lot about somebody, too. That they are wanting to push the line, even if they don't realize it.
Yeah, that's true. That just made me think. I get lots of emails and phone calls about people interested in starting martial arts, and they're super gung-ho about it and really excited to come in and try it out. But 75% of the time they don't show up, and a lot of the time it's because of this fear of a new thing, and that fear of a new thing can make you uncomfortable, and you have to make this willing decision to be discomfortable.
Being uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good wording.
Hashtag uncomfortable. You have to be willing to step into that first, and so a lot of times that's the first hurdle in training and getting people to get mentally tough. And depending on people's backgrounds and their lives that they've led up until that point, they may have developed, risk-taking, being okay with trying something new, but a lot of people haven't, especially people that are interested in martial arts. I've noticed, especially later in life, they've been somewhat timid, and they're looking to martial arts to kind of break through that and develop their mental toughness. So it's interesting, and I love the mix of people, but for the amount of emails I get, people interested in seeing the benefits of martial arts, I wish they would all just take that leap of faith. I understand that they don't know me personally, but I want them to trust me, man.
But if you get somebody, let's say if we had our little spot here, we're in a mini mall, and we just had like droves of people walking by every day, we might get a lot more people in the door, but the vast majority, I think, would just walk in and be like, nope, not for me, and walk out. And the vast majority also might come in and do a free first class and then be like, nope, never mind. And then pretty soon you're just teaching a bunch of first classes for free. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I want the people that hear about us or learn about us, however they do, and see it and be like, yeah, I want to try that out. Trying stuff doesn't scare me. Those are the people that I end up loving to train. And I think those are the kind of people that end up going very far.
Yeah, the people that are all in from the very beginning.
Yeah, or at least they know what giving it an honest shot looks like.
Yeah.
But I think that for some reason, to 99% of people, when you say, show up at this time in this place and you will get $100, that's not going to happen.
No.
I mean, for a lot of reasons, but when you put the commitment of just a time, that's what happens.
Yeah. It's almost effective in the opposite direction when you have that reward for them to come in. You get people that just want the reward and aren't really committed to the end goal of the benefits either from fitness training or from martial arts.
Black belt.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. So kind of moving along the idea, what do you think is a healthy way or a healthy attitude when you're going into something new? How would you coach somebody into trying something new?
I think how to coach somebody into starting?
Yeah, something new.
Ooh, that's tough. We gotta pause.
Okay.
I'm still going to record it. I think that. Sorry about that. We had a little hiccup in our audio sounds.
By hiccup, he means we had to order burritos.
Yeah.
Quality workout food.
Thanks, Michaela. So, but seriously, she's awesome.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed. So, what were we talking about?
Mental toughness.
Oh, when somebody comes in, how to...
Yeah. What recommendations or what tips do you have for somebody going into something new, how to stay.
If they already want to go
Mentally tough.
into something new and they already know that they're going to do it, they're mentally tough.
Yeah, but what about those people that we were talking about that try it once and then quit because
If somebody's
They're not mentally
if
tough.
somebody's Googling how to develop mental toughness,
they're not doing that? Okay, they're Googling personal training in Salem, Oregon, and they come across
they come
Mike
across
Walsh. They come across Mike Walsh in Northwest Forge, and they want to do the initial consultation. What tips do you have for that person who might be nervous about it? They've never trained, they've never had a personal trainer. Anything.
Well, I think what I'm hearing is like, how would I schmooze somebody?
No, not from a business point. Like, okay, put yourself in their shoes. Okay, something that you've never tried before, something that you might be a little nervous about, but you've set up the first thing. So how do you focus your energy? How do you
I'm not gonna
psych yourself up to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success, and this isn't just another thing you start and then quit?
I think that can really come from the teacher. So I think that relying all on you to do it all is great, but I think if you go in and it's all on you, even when you start training or you start Kung Fu, if you're not getting that supplemented by your teacher, then you might need to find a different place. So for me, when I go try something new, it's really a matter of like, well, is the benefit something that I want to do? If yes, then do it. Or if it's a lot easier if somebody that I know is also doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
let me reverse the question and ask you, and I might get a better understanding of what you're going for.
No, I think you got it. What I heard from you is having a friend, having a support there to try something new with you is a huge benefit.
Yes.
And also, you're going in and potentially hiring a service, and so that person should be able to bring you past that nervousness.
Right. Well, I also think that there's kind of a funnel of when you first interact with Hood's Martial Arts Academy. When you Google, martial arts Salem, Oregon, and you end up at hoodsmartialartsacademy.com, right?
Thanks for the plug.
Yeah, plug. Shameless. And and right off the bat, there's an experience that says, "Hey, we're quality. We do this for the right reasons. We are the right people, and we do it the right way." Does that make sense?
I think so.
So
yeah.
I think once somebody sees that right off the bat, like boom, they're in, and they see instantly, just like, and they're not being told, like you're not telling them, "Hey, we're the right guy and we're the right people," but you can show them like, "Hey, this is where quality lives in Salem." Then I think it's just it's a natural thing for them to want to come in.
Right.
So I think showing that is really, and essentially taking away the need for the mental toughness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is interesting. This is taking a turn that I wasn't expecting, shifting from the prospective person, whoever that new person is, onto the business owner or trainer or teacher or whatever. Kind of shifting the idea of mental toughness from it's their responsibility to it's ours to pull them and drive them into the mental toughness arena.
Yeah, into the mental toughness. Yeah, and to be like, hey, like the way I'm trying to create everything is so when I show people like, hey, this is what I do, they go like, oh, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And they come in and then I explain to them like, well, we find our limits, and they don't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be walking on nails.
Everybody's different.
Or lifting 1,000 pounds. We're just going to find your limit and just flirt with it just a little bit. And you decide where that limit is. I don't decide where that limit is. You do.
Yeah.
So when somebody comes in, they're already over 99% of that hump. All they have to do is show up the rest of the week.
Do you coddle someone who is not pushing themselves hard enough?
If somebody
or do you get mean and...
I don't ever get mean.
I don't mean mean, but I mean kind of drive them a little bit more.
It really depends on the client. I mean, if somebody learns that way, and it kind of tends to be that the high performing individuals they like it when I get after them and be like, hey, what was that? What was that last set?
Yeah.
I mean, you quit after this many, you could do this many, you've done this much in the past with this much.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Yeah.
And so I'll be very direct with them.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't like that, and they like to be just kind of eased into things a lot more. But it really depends on the client, and there's no better way than the other way.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Or I
No
should
better
rephrase
way
that.
Yeah.
There's no perfect way. Everybody has their own their own language that they like,
Yeah.
and a really good personal trainer will figure out what that is as fast as they can.
Right.
You know, like everybody learns differently.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a visual learner, or, you know, I learn by doing. And some people, you got to explain to them exactly what to do by words or write it down. And if you show them, they're not going to get it. You got to write it down for some reason.
A long time ago, I had some sort of sales training as a part of my job at a local credit union, and they were really big on trying to assess the particular member or customer, their personality type and how they think and operate. So you would have the people that are really analytical. You would try to pitch like a credit card or a service or something like that. And some people just want all the information, go home, think about it, study the information, come back and make a decision later. And that's kind of me. And then you have the people that are more impulsive, and really that kind of stuff comes in handy when you're working with people like with what you and I do, even though it's not sales related. Kind of more to the point of what you were saying, it's a fantastic skill to have, to be able to read somebody's most effective way of learning,
right, and
development.
Positively reinforcing positive outcomes or positive behaviors is across the board like the way to go.
Yeah.
Like no matter who it is and how they learn and how they like to do things, if you say, hey, that last set was awesome, especially on a rep, you did this, or I saw you correct yourself doing this, that was great, keep doing that, you're going to have a lot better results with people wanting to push their own limits when you point out the things that they're doing right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like there's this kind of overarching sense of personal trainers that they lead by kind of boot campy drill sergeant behaviors,
barking
like,
orders and do this, all right, on your faces,
and like just treating you like scum.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing from you and what I've seen from you is that it's not, or at least you're not that way. You're reinforcing the positive instead of blowing up on the negative.
Right.
I think that's more effective.
It is more effective, and even noting on the negative. Like if you're gonna note on something negative,
you still
it better
correct.
be with something positive. Like, hey, you could have done this better, but great job on this.
Yeah.
And it
that
can't
sandwich,
be. It
positive,
can't be
negative,
fake.
positive.
Yeah, and it can't be fake. You can't just be like, oh yeah, and great job for showing up. You know.
Yeah.
But honestly, you know, sometimes some clients need to hear that, and some people need to hear that when they're just having a tough time in life, and they're just having a tough time, and you gotta say, well, at least you're here. You're here. You're in the right place. This is a healthy way to deal with things if you're going through this or that.
Yeah.
And just again, just meaning it when you reinforce the positive behaviors.
Yeah, I tell people to make this their therapy.
Yeah.
You know, forget about what's going on outside. Forget about the grocery list, what you got to do to get the kids ready for school the next day, or whatever's going on at work.
Yeah.
And punch the heck out of this heavy bag, you know.
Yeah.
Put your focus, all that distraction, get that laser focus on what we're doing now.
A guy named Keith comes to mind.
Oh. From boot camp?
From boot camp, yeah. He comes in and he's got a pretty stressful job and just wails on the slam ball and stuff.
He's a smart dude, and his you could tell he's thinking about he's got very focused
he's got that laser
movement.
focus.
Yeah.
I want to say something really quick about the mental toughness. I think that when you reinforce positive behaviors and positive outcomes in yourself, you become mentally tough real quick. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So don't just leave it up to the trainer or the instructor to
Right.
to tell you good job, but start to have self-positive.
Yeah, if
talk.
you're at home and you don't have a personal trainer and you're never going to have one and you don't have any kind of therapy like what we're talking about, and you're just trying to do your own thing, and you have a New Year's resolution, let's say, and you want to go to the gym 5 days a week for an hour a day, and you make it, 3 days a week for 20 minutes each or whatever, and you say to yourself like, well, I did, that much more than I would have if I didn't have this New Year's resolution. I did pretty good.
Yeah. Celebrate the small stuff.
Yeah, celebrate the small stuff and celebrate everything you can, really.
Yeah.
I think you become mentally tough that way.
Yeah, it definitely helps, and it snowballs. We've talked about this before, kind of the positive self-talk, and I wholeheartedly agree that it's important because we hear so much negative from the outside, and we tend to let that permeate our brains and then kind of steep there, and we just repeat that to ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's really important to get out of that cycle. And it might start with just something small like saying, hey, at least I showed up.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of takes off from there. Like, I did really good on that last set of whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. You've been listening to Modern Era Fitness Podcast. You can reach us on Twitter at MEF Podcast or search us on Facebook.
Yeah. If you want to email us any questions, if you don't want it out on Facebook or on Twitter, you can send us an email to modernerafitnesspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and catch you next week.
Bye.
Have a beautiful time.